Hello, audience, and welcome to Portal, a playthrough in which nothing went wrong whatsoever, and everything started off really great, and we didn't have to re-record anything.
It's true. It's true. Hey, I'm not spoiling. Hey, there we go. Cake! We get cake right at the beginning. Hot damn!
And of course, if you don't already know, I am Blubber01, and joining me as always...
And I'm Super Hobbit89. How's it going?
Pretty good. I'm feeling pretty sexy right now.
Oh, good. Good. I hope you're not wearing pants.
I never wear pants, so I don't even know.
Good answer.
That
That is the correct
You should
answer.
know that by now.
Pants are forbidden if you're watching this video, by the way.
I'm sure I said some interesting things the first time around when we started this game, but I feel like I've forgotten them.
It's time to say some more interesting things, damn it.
I will say, yes, in this playthrough, I actually, I'm going to show you where all the radios are. I don't do all the achievements because at the time of this playthrough, I didn't know where all the locations of the achievements were. Like, wait, you have to get the radios to certain points so that it gives the Ratman signal and activates it, and I don't know where all those are. But I know where all the radios are, so I will get most of them, and the ones I don't get, I will at least show you where they are.
Right. Yeah, for those who don't know, those radios, if you bring them to a specific location, it like dials into a frequency that makes some weird noises, and it doesn't really make much sense out of context, but people online, like within, I don't know how many days of it being out, and because it was put in through a patch, people found that if you mapped those sounds to like a text file or to an image, it actually made an image that was actually drumming up support for Portal 2. It would show characters and little designs. So, I mean, honestly, one of my favorite ways of doing, like, in-game advertisements for the next game, it's almost like meta in the way they pulled it off. It's really fun.
This is true. Now, would you say that radio song is a salsa or a rumba?
I would say it's a salsa.
Salsa?
I
like to think with a little bit of rumba mixed in there.
Well, when I think rumba, I think Roomba, and I think little robots. Is that wrong?
Somewhat, yes.
Too bad. I don't want.
What's that V? Oh, look at that. It was a light glitch.
Weighted storage cube.
And
Aperture Science Weighted Storage Cube. I love Aperture Science Weighted Storage Cubes. I used to have a pet Aperture Science Weighted Storage Cube, but then my friend had a bigger Aperture Science Weighted Storage Cube, and I was like, no, you can't have a bigger Aperture Weighted Storage Cube than me. I'm the one with the Aperture Science Weighted Storage Cube. And so I threw my Aperture Science Weighted Storage Cube at his face, and it exploded, and now I don't have an Aperture Science Weighted Storage Cube anymore.
and that's why we can't have nice things.
Yes.
Boy, that is
But I'd
funny,
love to have a 1500 megawatt Aperture Science Heavy Duty Super Colliding Super Button.
God, don't we all?
You'll have one of those. Man, doing the dialogue for Portal must have been one of the most fun things ever. Ellen Page, that's it, right? Ellen Page?
Ellen Page is the actress who is, like, from Juno. This is Ellen McClane, I
Ellen
believe.
McClane? Oh, let's just call her Ellen Page.
Ellen Page, oh, be still my beating heart. God, she is fucking great.
Are we delving into a secret childhood?
It is no secret. It is no secret. Ellen Page, if you were watching this video, God damn. Who am I kidding?
Well, now that we're on this subject, celebrity crushes. Who's yours, right? That if you could, who would?
I'm sorry, that sentence made zero sense to me.
Okay, what if I add the word "you do" at the end?
I think we're getting slightly derailed from, you know, this video that we're watching, that we're
I think it's completely on topic.
So, well, for those who don't know, this game...
Okay, how about audience? You just put your answers of what celebrity you would do in the comments.
Yeah, let's just go with that. It's a lot less weird, I think. But anyway, no, for those who don't know, this game is fantastic. It came out as part of the Orange Box back when, I guess it was still just Half-Life Episode 1. No, I think Episode 2 had come out as well.
Back when Team Fortress 1 was still being played.
Well, I think Episode 2 was bundled in with this and Team Fortress 2, so it was like a Valve fan's wet dream. Well, it still is. But it's just... In fact, I think this game... The prototype for it was developed by, I think it was like a group of students.
It was called, okay, I know that, it was called Tag the Power of Paint.
For your own safety, do not
No,
destroy
no.
Sorry,
Oh,
what?
that I made a oopsie in Portal 2 recording. I had said Nervacular Drop was the one they used for Portal 2, but that one was Tag the Power of Paint. Tag the Power of
Okay.
Paint, for those who don't know, is the student college game that was the basis for the Portal 2 elements.
Okay.
Nervacular Drop is the one that was used for Portal.
Right.
Interestingly enough, in Nervacular Drop, you could actually shoot portals through portals, where in this game you can't.
Okay. Oh yeah, you're right.
Yes.
Yeah, and for those who are curious, there's absolutely zero miscontinuity between talking about a Portal 2 video while we're playing Portal 1. Zero discontinuity at all.
Of course not.
Yeah, completely.
We do everything in order.
This was totally planned.
I'm just predicting that I would make that mistake later on.
Right, yeah. He's setting itself up. So, yeah, in fact, Portal 2,
I now
played
purposely
that.
tend to make that mistake just so that it can be corrected in this video. It's
No,
meta like that.
Yeah, no, I haven't even played Portal 2. In fact, I don't even know what we're talking about. Who the fuck are you again?
I don't even know. I was trying to find.
Where are my
I was
pants?
trying to look for Google.
Oh, good. Well, instead we found GLaDOS, so that's
Are you
best.
Google?
GLaDOS, Google, these are just words.
Ah.
You know I don't know how to read.
Otaka.
Oh boy. Well, let's see.
Raise the killer conversation.
Yeah.
For one.
Vital testing
But-
apparatus
No, but
destroyed.
anyway, I mean, I know there's a lot of things about this game that carried over from the original version that the college students initially developed. But there were a bunch of things that they had that Valve wanted to add when they took. I don't know if it was really taking ownership, but when they decided to run with their idea, the original game's idea.
Of the college game into Valve's Valve.
As part of a
They brought them
required
into
test
Valve's team.
protocol, our
Oh, you're right.
previous
Yeah, in fact,
statement
yeah, you're right.
suggesting that we
They
would
brought
not
them in
run
there.
a
Stayed on
student's
post that,
chamber was
but
an outright
for sure they
fabrication.
were,
Good job.
executive
As part of
producers,
a
if you
required
would, of
test
this game.
protocol, we will
I like to
stop
think they would have stuck
enhancing
around.
the
I mean,
truth
Valve seems like the
in
cool
3,
kind of company that would
2,
just be like, yeah, sure, stay on, like, you know, if they want to, like, yeah.
When you got a president who openly invites anyone in the world to email him with promise that he will personally email you back,
Mm-mm.
it definitely seems like that kind
Yeah.
of person. Ooh, pretty colors.
Fireworks.
What color?
Yeah, Gabe Newell's a fucking boss. That guy's the
And
coolest.
he's fat.
I don't care, it's fucking awesome.
I wasn't saying it was bad.
I No, he's a cool dude. He's definitely one of the. A lot of times, like, it's probably irrational to think this, but a lot of times I feel like a lot of the people that run these sorts of big studios are kind of out of touch with reality. It's probably not true, but it's something I always.
No, I think it's pretty true. I mean, just look at Nintendo.
Well, I don't know.
How often does Nintendo be like, oh, so we're gonna add this thing that the fan audience always wanted in Metroid, or in Zelda, or in this, or in that, or in Nintendo generally, but for 13 years we decided to negate that and ignore the audience. But now we're gonna do it!
Well, in the case of like Metroid, I mean, if you're talking about Other M, that wasn't developed by Nintendo, so.
In general, like, I could tell you, there's so many times Nintendo has elements in a game that people didn't want or wanted to see that they don't utilize, even though they kind of knew or people told them to do this or do that. You know, the audience, I think it's like, what game is it? Was it Mega Man or was it Smash Brothers? Where, like, they finally asked for, like, fan input on the certain things, and, like, they finally listened to the fans. Because there's so many games Nintendo makes where they don't even listen to the fans. The fans basically say, like, you guys should do this, you guys should do that, and they just make the game their way anyway, completely ignoring the fans. And I feel like there's no duality in that. There should be some kind of duality, some kind of, yeah, the fans obviously don't know how to make a game as well as we do, but they know what they want to play. So we should listen to some of their input and maybe incorporate some of that.
Well, I question what examples come to mind because I don't really know of any examples of things where they just like.
You know what I'm talking about? But I can
never
never cite my examples, so I refuse to name any. I just have to practice on this.
I'm just saying. I mean, my opinion is biased. I like Nintendo. And I feel that they're one of the companies that does kind of get it. If nothing else, they do try different things, and you're right. Sometimes it ends up blowing up in their face. I feel a lot of times it works. it works more than it doesn't work for them. I mean, again, if using Metroid as an example, it is a shame that they haven't made a Metroid game lately, but that's on Retro Studios end. I mean,
Well, I
that's
mean, if
their
anything is
prerogative.
offensive of not making a game, it would be F-Zero.
And in fact, I read an interview with Shigeru Miyamoto on that very subject just the other day, and they were talking about, like, yeah, there's a bunch of series that we would like to resurrect for the Wii U, and F-Zero is one of them that we'd like to revisit, but they don't really know how to do it without just rehashing the original, like doing another F-Zero GX, which of course is a good game, but they're not sure how to make it progress further without just being like, oh, it's a carbon copy of it, just a...
Well, the problem is, F-Zero, in its essence, is just a racer.
It is.
Their flaw is they added a story. Mario Kart never added a story. They added a story. So now they can't make another F-Zero without adding a story.
Well,
If you ask
have
me,
to...
I think the way to do F-Zero again would be to exclude almost every character they've ever made. I feel like some of the characters should stay, like Staples, Goro, and Black, or whoever all those guys are, right? But I feel they should introduce a whole slew of new characters. I should think they should do like you would do some kind of story in which
Wait, let's back up. So your solution to not having a story in F-Zero is to make a
no,
story.
I say they need a story, but I feel like to not rehash, I think they should cut out most of their characters and include a new add-on to the story, in which we are introduced to a whole new slew of racers. You can do a Rocky F-Zero, if you will, in which Captain Falcon is now no longer in his prime. He is the fuddle-duddled senior. He's the veteran. And you have all these new slew of racers with a couple of remainders like himself, and the goal is, this game is Captain Falcon wants to prove that he's still the king. I mean, they've never done that. I could so see them doing a story like that. And is that not sort of what they did with Metal Gear Solid? They made Snake to this old guy doing this one last mission, showing he's got it in him, right?
Well, kind of.
I'm not saying that's Nintendo. I'm just saying in video games I've seen that story.
Right. With Metal Gear Solid, that's a bit of an exception, because it's not that he's old, it's just that he's aged a lot quicker because of the genetic modifications and whatnot.
But he does have gray hair.
Oh yes, he has a majestic gray mane of salt and pepper deliciousness. But yeah, it's not that he's old, it's just that his body's degrading much quicker than yours or I.
Anyways, if they were going to do an F-Zero, that's what I would do with it.
Well,
because they've made stories, so they have to do a story, and I think an interesting story for F-Zero would be to age Captain Falcon.
Right. Well, I think in the case of F-Zero, story is definitely one part of it, but I'm sure.
Did you see that, by the way? I had the radio in. I was on the other side of the Emancipation grid, and it was on the other side. So I pulled back and brought it through the other side of the Emancipation grid.
Right. Yeah, if you would have let go, it would have been okay. But
yeah.
I didn't notice it until after it had died.
That would have been. Oh my god! I should so have done that. Maybe I would have crashed Portal 1. I mean, I've already shown how to crash this game, but maybe that would have been another way. What do you think? Because you're not supposed to be able to get that radio past that grid.
I can guarantee you wouldn't have crashed the game.
I've already proven I can crash the game with the radio. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they totally allowed for that particular case. So it would have been pretty easy to have it sneak past that point.
Hello again.
I don't know.
Hi, GLaDOS!
Nope, yep.
I did it! I did it!
You get these little hints that something's amiss. Like, right at the beginning of the game, you hear that little sound clip that speeds up a little bit, cuts out, zooms
I don't know what
back
you're talking
in.
about. GLaDOS seems fine. She seems perfectly in check, in control, and completely safe and willing to not betray me at all. She seems like a cool chick.
A pretty well-rounded individual.
This is a transmission. This is one of the spots, and this is if you find the spot for each radio, this is what you'll hear.
Yeah, and in fact, I know there's an achievement for getting all, what is it, 15 or so?
Yeah, it's called Instant transmission. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
It's called transmission received.
Okay. It's
Instant transmission, though.
it's a tricky achievement to get. I know I had to resort to a walkthrough a couple times. There are some really tricky ones.
I don't
Like
know if you noticed
some
this time around this playthrough, but I bring the radios as far as I can, trying to get each one to the Emancipation Grid. And if you watch how I do it with this one, it was actually pretty skilled the first time. I dropped it while falling into the floor, so it flew with me.
That's one of my favorite ways to transport things. It's one thing to hold it as you're jumping, but to like drop
It's
it in.
harder in this game to do that. In Portal 2, they made it so it... Because in this game, when you're holding it, if it's facing the floor, it falls out of your hands, while in Portal 2, it gets stuck to you in a sense. So even if it goes through the floor, it still goes through the floor.
Yeah, it's a lot more forgiving in Portal 2, but it's still a fun thing to do. I don't know, if nothing else, it looks cool.
For sure. So, see you guys in the next part. Ba-ba-ba-boom!